that goes to.
Hello everybody, this is Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover the Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey cases, but also as time passes I've been covering other cases such as the Staircase or OJ and many wrongful convictions of youth. I go over the documents, the photos, the videos, anything case related, so stay tuned because I have many more videos just like the one you're about to see. Hello there everybody, how you doing today? Today I want to do a little video because I saw today that Zellner tweeted about doing another Q&A. She's removed the tweet, but I got a feeling she's going to make another one tomorrow. I have a feeling she made the tweet setting the time, but then maybe realized that there was something else going on at that time, so she pulled the tweet. So I have a feeling she's going to be issuing another tweet that's going to move it to Tuesday or Wednesday. So essentially creates the same problem for me. Okay, the problem for me is I got to be at work during those times. That's right. So it's I can't get on and do Twitter Q&A and hashtag Ask Zellner while I'm at work. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work, and it's not fair to my boss. So what I'm doing is while I have time right now, and since I'm not in it for the attention or the glory or getting the attention of Zellner, I just want to see the answers to the questions that I ask. I'm going to ask my questions right here, and I'm going to let all of you attempt to submit the questions to Zellner. Because sometimes when you only have one person submitting questions, she doesn't see it. So hopefully if there's enough people asking these particular questions, she will eventually get to them and answer them. If the Q&A happens like I think it will, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday. So what she was asking for is this. I'll show you the first tweet here real quick. Okay, so this is the tweet in question that she tweeted earlier today, but later deleted. So like I said, I think maybe she realized she had a conflict schedule, and so she had to pull the tweet, and she's probably going to reschedule it for later in the week. So no matter what, that's going to fall on a weekday, which is going to be bad for me, like I said. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and get my question out. But I really think she's going to reschedule. But yes, this tweet was pulled. I don't know if I doubt the Q&A is going on tomorrow, seeing as she pulled the tweet. But I think the fact that this tweet was even, issued tells us that she's got the mind to do another Twitter Q&A with the hashtag Ask Zellner. So that's what I'm going to go through today, is to just introduce a couple questions that I hope get asked, and hopefully, with the help of the Wrecking Crew and the subscribers of here on my channel, we can get those questions asked. And I really want to hear the answer, what she thinks, or how she would answer my questions. I'm really intrigued to hear it. So, okay, that's the tweet. So I just wanted y'all to see that. All right. So to reiterate, she did delete this tweet, but the fact that she made this tweet, as I said, I believe she has a mind to do the Twitter Q&A sometime this week. And when she does, I have a few questions that I hope some of you will help ask, because I will not be able to be there to ask them myself. So those of you who will be able to follow that feed in real time, feel free to put the hashtag Ask Zellner on my questions, because I'd love to hear what her answer is to the questions that I want to ask. Mainly I want to ask, well, obviously she wants us to ask about the Manitowoc County gravel pit bones, or the quarry bones. Essentially, she wants the Q&A to be basically about that. So that means if you ask questions that aren't to do with those bones or the motion or something to do with them, she most likely will not be answering it. So remember, that's supposed to be pertaining to the bones that are found in the Manitowoc County gravel pit. My first question that I would want to ask with the hashtag Ask Zellner is what is it that makes it clear that the bones moved from the Manitowoc County gravel pit to the Stephen Avery's burn pit, essentially, right? if they ask her basically how to do that. So the way that I phrased it was when proving bones moved from the quarry to to Stephen Avery's burn pit, will you be pointing to the extra burn barrel that was found at the Dassies? Because as I've been going through the the MPCR, the motion for post-conviction relief, one of the things in there it shows is that Bobby Dassey said that the Dassies only had 3 burn barrels, but during the investigation they found 4. So it's an interesting side note, and that's kind of what I was wondering. I wanted to ask her if she was basically going to be in her arguments saying that 4th extra burn barrel that technically shouldn't have been there, if that was the the vehicle of transfer for these bones. So that was kind of my first question. So because obviously the other side's going to argue, well, they didn't move from the quarry, they moved from the burn pit to the quarry, which makes no sense really to me. Certainly, I mean, maybe animals, but animals wouldn't have been dragging bones into a burn barrel. Okay, that just wouldn't have happened. That's just not realistic. So that's why I see the burn barrel as the mode of transport, and the fact that we only have 40% of the bones in Stephen Avery's burn pit leads me to believe that burn barrel was the vehicle, possibly even where a lot of the burn happened, wherever this burn barrel may have started from, and that it was the vehicle for moving the bones. And that's why there's an extra burn barrel at the Dassies. So that's kind of where I'm going with that, to explain to people why I'm asking that question. So, I'd love to hear what she has to say about that, because obviously that thing about the 4th burn barrel was very interesting to me as I was going through the motion for post-conviction relief. The next question I would want to ask is basically, if she feels obviously we know that the law is not going to take a real severe kind of attitude towards this, but I would be interested to hear her state her own opinion as to whether or not the state giving those bones back to the hall box the way they did, if that is basically like an admission from the state that those bones were Teresa's, and that therefore the defense's arguments at trial were far more valid than Ken Kratz led them to believe, basically. So my question for her is basically, does she feel that by the state giving those bones back, that is essentially an admission that they are Teresa's? As I said, this courts, I don't think, are going to quite see it that way. When I've talked to Travis about it, Travis basically says no, that the courts aren't going to really see it that way. But I don't know. I just think the fact that but what the courts are going to care about possibly is the fact that they gave those bones back, and that those are biological evidence, and that there's a statute that prevents that, or there's supposed to be the proper procedures performed before those bones can be gotten rid of or given back or disposed of, or whatever may happen with any particular piece of evidence in any particular case, right? So there's a procedure to follow before you get rid of that evidence, and whether you're sending it on to family members, whether it's getting destroyed, whatever it might be. So there's supposed to be there's supposed to be things in place to protect the state from doing what it seems to have done here with these quarry bones. And so Zellner is after him. This is just, in those missing pages, how is it that the state was reluctant to give the pages of queso that mentioned that they gave bones back to the hall box, and that they didn't put those pages, that for some reason those pages didn't get over to Stephen's appellate counsel at the time when this happened back in 2011? Stephen had appellate attorneys at the time that should have been notified that weren't notified, and they didn't have those pages of queso that mentioned the bones that were given back to the hall box. And so when that record was passed on to Zellner, those pages were missing. So the state was hiding that fact that they had given the bones back. Is that interesting or not, or what? That is just, to me, extremely interesting. Very, very interesting. It's, to me, it's just showing the state again, kind of like with the CD, holding things back, hiding things because they're afraid. They know that if those things come out, that it would have made it very hard for them to get their conviction against Stephen Avery. And what does that mean? It means it would have undermined confidence. It would have undermined the jury's confidence in the state's case. In this case, it's undermining the confidence in the jury's verdict, because we know the state was clearly misleading here. They said they wouldn't spend 20 seconds on these bones, and yet here they are giving these bones back to the hall box. But they wouldn't spend 20 seconds on them because they weren't Teresa's, and therefore they didn't even deserve 20 seconds. Yeah, yep. So that's where we're at with that. So that's my second question, that I would, love it if people would make sure that they, people that can be there for the live Q&A, if they could ask these questions. And the third one that I would ask is, would Zellner be arguing that DNA profile CX that was found in the quarry near one of the piles of bones, if she would be arguing that DNA profile CX is actually the DNA profile of the killer who burned Teresa and everything, and most likely went and dumped the bones into Stephen Avery's burn pit. And the reason why I'm asking, would she be arguing that, because I also feel, does that also help her, to argue that the bones moved from the gravel pit to Stephen's burn pit by showing a DNA profile of the potential killer in the quarry? Doesn't that also help prove that these bones moved to Stephen's and not from Stephen's, right? So basically, just does the DNA profile of DNA, does the DNA profile CX help to prove that most likely the crime happened in the quarry, and that the bones then moved to the Averys? Basically, is what I'm getting at. Does DNA profile CX help to prove that, and that the bones actually moved in the direction of going from the quarry to Stephen's? That's basically what I want to know, is if she thinks that helps prove which direction these bones went. And I'd love to hear what she has to say, and love to see what she has to think about that. It's interesting stuff here as we move forward. Obviously, the state is now been caught twice holding things back. First, it's a CD that's held in Tom Fassbender's personal custody for 12 years. That has basically a bunch of easy access information that would tell anybody about all the disturbing things on the Dassey computer. Basically, the CD that would have made it real easy to see what was there, and that it was most likely pertinent and relevant to the case. That CD was hidden, and we all know the games they were playing with the computer. They were pretty desperate to hide that computer evidence as well. The way they handed it over, they had it for 8 months, but yet they handed over literally 3.5 weeks before Denny is due for Stephen's trial. Jamming the defense up on it. You can see all the tactics there that Kratz and Fallon in the state were dealing dirty, bottom of the deck. It's just obvious, right? And now you just see more of it now here, where the state didn't hand over the pages of queso that explained which bones from the quarry they had given back to the hall box. It's just, the stuff just adds up. Okay, it's not coincidental that this stuff keeps adding up. It's just not. And that's why Zellner made a tweet the other day. It's funny, we keep uncovering more evidence and it keeps pointing away from Stephen Avery. Imagine that. Right? So, anyways, that's about it. That's all I really wanted to talk about today, was hopefully give you guys those 3 questions that hopefully you guys, understand what I'm asking, and you can put them to Zellner during the Q&A. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow now because she removed the tweet, but I expect tomorrow or the next day you'll see another tweet because she has a mind to do a Q&A now, obviously. Otherwise, she wouldn't have put that tweet out. So I think we got it coming this week. We're going to have a Q&A session, and if it does happen, then I'd like to see these 3 questions get asked for certain. Anyways, that's about it for today. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and let's cut Stacy.
My name's Stacy Seabrook, and I approve Eric Jose on Making a Murderer to be able to use my songs on his channel. Thank you. Let me tell you about a story. Now we met at walk bound about that law enforcement, a right bunch of clowns, how they wear their badge like a plastic crown, how they're sticking to a story of which they are now bound. It's a rabbit hole they don't want you to go down. But over in Wisconsin, they're doubling down. See, they framed them once, then they did it again. They did not count on filmmakers making MAM. They thought their lives were safe, all would buy the ruse. They did not figure on 19 million views. It'll make you shake your head and probably frown. But over in Wisconsin, they're doubling down. I said they'll double down, and they'll triple down. They're headed down a road which they cannot turn around. They walk around like they'll be home free, cause they control all the evidence on the local judges and Fallon is the state's AG. But I got some news, it's as plain as day. It doesn't matter what the state or the guilters say, cause we got Kathleen, she's got them in their sights. She's a real live hero, turning wrongs to right. No matter how hard that state's gavel pounds, over in Wisconsin, they're coming down. I said no matter how hard that state's gavel pounds, their house of cards isn't coming down. It'll make you shake your head, probably frown. Said over in Wisconsin, they're coming down. Over in Wisconsin, they're coming down. They say you can trust us, oh, but they use a badge for an illusion of justice. Oh, they say you can trust us, oh, but they use the flag for an illusion of justice. Indefensible on how what they did, convict an innocent man twice with a 16-year-old kid. Yes, we can turn away, pretending all the pieces fit. Oh, but if we turn away, we let them get away with it. Say you can trust us, oh, but they use the badge for an illusion of justice. Oh, they say you can trust us, oh, but they use the flag for an illusion of justice. Of justice. Crew to tear this whole case down. Oh, did you hear the news? There's a new sheriff in town. Not that need touching one, not not the one supported by them clowns. Oh, the superhero one. She's gonna tear that house of cards down. Oh, they say you can trust us. Oh, but they use the badge for an illusion of justice. Oh, they say you can trust us. Oh, they abuse the flag for an illusion of justice. Oh, of justice. We need a wrecking crew to tear this whole thing down.